Hey guys, this is your boy A-Rod Squad. Today I'm going to show you how to use your own personal router instead of the ISP provided router, so you could take advantage of all the fun features and the full features that your own personal router provides. So that way you could have a better control of your network. Open up your browser and type in the IP address to log into the router. Some of the things you just want to make sure that you have moved on from your provider router to your internal router. You're going to want to unplug all your LAN Ethernet wires and plug them into your internal router. The only connection you want to leave in your provider router is going to be the WAN connection. Your WAN connection is pretty much all the internet that you're getting from AT&T or Verizon is coming into that port. So you want to make sure that wire stays plugged in. If you disconnect that, you will not be able to use internet in the house at all, because that's your main point of entry for all your internet in the house. So long story short, leave that plugged in. It's going to be a yellow port. You don't want to touch that. Other than that, every other LAN port or the Ethernet wires, just remove them from your AT&T or Verizon router and plug them into your internal router. For myself, I have an Orbi Netgear. Orbi Netgear gives you mesh network router, and you got a satellite. I could make a video about that in the future, about what kind of system I have and how I'm exactly using it and what are the features and stuff, but that's for later. So let's get back into it. So what you're going to do is type in the address for your local gateway, which is your default IP address, 192.168.1.254. That's going to connect you to your AT&T or Verizon router. So once you do that, make sure you have the credentials to log into it. If you don't, then you're going to want to maybe reset the router somehow, or get that credentials from the back of your router somehow to be able to get into it. So for me, I already have the credentials stored, so I don't have to continuously log in every time I get into my router. So once you get into it, you'll see some of the things like my connection to AT&T. It's up right now. What kind of different networks I have, even though I'm not going to be needing the 2.5 or the 5 gig. As you can tell, the status is off. I've turned them off already because I'm not using the provider router as my internal house router. Everything's going to show inactive here because I have nothing connecting to the provider router. So next thing you want to do is go into settings. Then you want to go into firewall. Before we get into firewall, I just want to show you some stuff. So, you could find out some details about your router in this section. Model number, what's the, when is the last time your router was rebooted? So for me, it was 26 days ago. You want to make sure your NTP settings, which is, your current time and date, is correct on your router. It's really helpful if you're doing some troubleshooting or you're doing log analysis and stuff, so the timestamp has to match, right? You can figure out what hardware version you're running on and software version. Maybe it's a little bit advanced for this tutorial, but maybe in the future we can dig more deep into it depending on what you guys want to see. So next thing you want to do is go into firewall. So for me, I already have my router connected and selected for to be allowed through the DMZ and everything. So that's why it shows up here. So this is where after you have done the setting, you want to see your router here under status in firewall settings. Then you're going to go into application pinholes DMZ. And over here where you're going to want to select a computer. Select a computer doesn't necessarily mean it's a laptop or something. Select a computer is any device that's connected and it's on your network. So in my case, or your case, you're going to want to use your internal router IP address and choose that, or you could use the host name and choose that as well. So once you choose it, you're gonna go scroll down. You're gonna do allow all applications DMZ plus mode. Select that. Press save. Once you save, your router is going to reboot and go through some cycles and apply those settings. Once the router comes back up, you're able to log back in, go into firewall again, and then just make sure that under status you're able to see your router selected. And then you could go into diagnostics to double check if everything has been set correctly. Go into application statistics and you'll see your access point selected over here. And then of course you could do some logging as well to make sure the traffic's being redirected to your internal router. But that will get a little bit more detail, so we don't want to jump into that and confuse you guys. Other than that, I think that's all you really need to do. Other thing you want to do is you want to somehow connect your provider router to your internal router, right? So it could forward all the traffic. So the way I have done it is have LAN 1 port 1 connection, Ethernet plugged in there, and then that's going to my WAN connection to the internal router. So that way all the traffic gets forwarded. I have, so I pulled it up. It's on Best Buy's website. You could also probably find it on Amazon as well. I remember picking up the router for around $215, and it was a 2-pack, just like it shows on the screen here. But seems like $279 is the price at Best Buy. Amazon might be around the same, or maybe you could find a better deal there. But it's a really good Wi-Fi system. Each of the nodes that you see there's 2 of them. Each covers up to 2,000 square feet. So let's say if you have a big house, you could pretty much use both nodes and broadcast and cover up to like 5,000 square feet of a home, which is really good. So let's say if you have a house that's about, if you're sitting in the garage and you want to connect to your Wi-Fi, you should be able to do that, even though the device might be sitting on the second floor somewhere on the back side. So it does provide you with great range of connectivity. It's a really good mesh system, but I found it really, really helpful. There's a lot of good features inside this. The router itself looks very nice and clean. It has a little light on top of it. There's different functions for each of the lights. So amber means that it's not connected. Blue means for whatever I'm saying. And then so pretty much it's a tri-band router. Tri-band pretty much, it's a tri-band router, and tri-band really means is that you could have one network for 2.5 gigs, and you could have 2 separate individual 5 gig networks, which is pretty much all the new technology, or not all the new computers and everything run on 5 gig, and you just have more SSIDs to connect to if you have the 5 gig. In this case, 2 of the 5 gig and 1 2.5. Pretty good. It has some MIMO capable technology, which pretty much means is that you have the simultaneous data streaming on multiple devices, where the older routers, you would have to wait for one device to transmit the data before the other one could receive it. So in this one, you could simultaneously data stream while you have multiple devices connected to the same router. So you could add more satellites. I mean, this is the system that I have, but there's no need for me to add another satellite. But if you add another satellite, you'll get another 2,000 square footage of coverage, and you could expand as you go. So I mean, it's fairly simple way to connect. You can pretty much use your app to connect the whole thing. So Just wanted to give you a rundown of what I have and what I'm using. Maybe it's helpful for you guys, and I'll link the product below. Please like and subscribe and hit the bell icon.